ちなイメージだらけの頼りない翼でもきっと飛べるさ Oh my
Hello everyone, and welcome to special episode 26 of Lost in Translationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this week, we watched
Disappointment.
Digimon Adventure Tri, Chapter 5, Disappointment, or I guess it's also called Symbiosis or Coexistence, as Crunchyroll called it. What were your highlights?
And now we go on to the negatives.
Yeah, so I loved the Dark Ocean part. That was, like, I mean, we'll get to our negatives when we get to the negatives. But something I really liked is we got a brief clip of the Dark Ocean. Sure, it was like 30 seconds, but it was 30 seconds where I cared. It had the weird sort of globby people that were masquerading as the Divamon in Adventure Zero 2.
I would have really liked if they were like, we finally have a queen!
And it is nice to have Maki there, because obviously she is experiencing very dark thoughts at the moment, and that's why she's ending up at the Dark Ocean. She is also has been a host for Homeostasis before, and so has Hikari, and both of them have wandered up into the Dark Ocean before. So that is that nice sort of similarity that both characters have. However, Maki had a rifle at one point, and now she has a pistol.
She just sort of dropped the rifle, which I also don't think she ever had with her beforehand. So she must have gone home, got it, went back to the digital world, wandered around, lost it, grabbed a pistol, wandered around some more, and ended up in the Dark Ocean.
What was she planning to do with that gun? Was she going to shoot her Digimon?
I don't know. And also, we know that guns don't work well in Digimon unless you're a Beelzemon,
So why did she have a gun?
I don't know, May. Nothing in this show is well explained.
And I did have some other favourite parts, like that Dark Ocean part
Is that lies?
Like, no.
Are you sure they were your favourite parts, or are you wrong?
So, there was a part after one of the motivational speeches that all the characters decided to give Meiko.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, and then all the Digimon are asleep, and Agumon wakes up and says, "We're sharing something, can I have some?" Because he thinks they're talking about food, because they're all sharing their emotions.
So there is a complaint I've heard about the Persona 4 spin-off stuff, like Dancing All Night and the arena things, and they go, I like Chie as a character, but the thing that frustrates me is that as much as she's a complex character in Persona 4, when if she's in spin-off things, she's just, I like steak, meat's my thing, I really like steak, I'm the steak girl.
Was she that complex in Persona 4?
Yeah, she had a lot of stuff going on. She had a whole storyline.
Yeah, but I don't remember it.
But and while she did like steak, that wasn't all that defined her. And it becomes, and I mean, I know it's a younger Agumon, but
yeah.
Agumon, even, Zero Two did one thing that was okay. Agumon was like a complicated character who thought about things quite complexly. In this one, he's just, every time he says anything, it's about food. And I go, that's a great joke. I wish they knew others.
Yeah. Well, it is sort of, I guess, new to this. Like, he's a new Agumon, as you said. So he's not the same Agumon who had that wonderful speech with the Blackwall Greymon. He is a new Agumon. But I think in Chapter 3, he was also... Food's great. I love food. Food's fantastic. My favourite thing ever.
Oh, no. In all of Tri, he's been like that.
No, not in Chapter 1 and 2. The dub actually introduced that. The dub introduced it into Chapter 2, but it wasn't actually there in Chapter 2.
Okay.
It was just randomly in Chapter 3, and then it sort of has escalated each time now. To like, hey, why don't we just make him hungry? We'll give him a character. It's fine.
We're going to finish off Tri and he's going to eat the planet. And it turned out Agumon was actually Galactus.
Agumon's the actual big bad. He is Libra.
Ultimate twist.
Agumon being Libra would be a pretty big twist.
Can we confirm that Libra just means Meikumon here? Or is Libra something else entirely?
I got the impression it was something else entirely.
I got the sense that they were referring to Libra as like a code name for Meikumon. But
oh, okay.
I could be really wrong because they're really bad at explaining things, even though the reason they're being bad at explaining things while people are all they're doing is explaining things.
This episode is just people talking.
It is, and they say nothing. It's actually amazing.
Another part that I liked was I kind of liked the scary story scene.
Even though it was so stupid.
It was the most filler. Like, my problem with this movie, and I guess I'll say it now, is that a lot of it just seemed very filler.
It did. And it's so weird because there's all this time pressure on everything everyone is doing. Oh, the world is currently ending because Digimon are attacking the planet. I think it's time for some scary stories, guys. I literally thought when Daigo was like, okay, you know, we're not going to take you to wherever. We'll take you somewhere more relaxed. I'm like, are they going back to the spa?
No, they're going to the school. They do have some cute moments in the scary story scene. We find out that Yamato's not good with scary stories, and he's very anxious the entire time. We find that Joe, his scariest story is he got a bad score.
Oh.
And I like the scene. It was a nice character scene, and we didn't really get any scenes besides that.
Do you like how Meiko was the best at scary stories because she heard a bell ring?
And then it was behind her, and then it was in front of her.
Oh, everyone's so scared!
Everyone was frightened from, like,
don't.
it's a dark night, I'm walking down the street, and also a bicycle.
If I was in that audience, and I was, because I was watching it, I'd say, when does the story start? Did you arrive where you were going?
I wanted to know how it ended, but we never got to know the ending of the story. That's what I really want from Tri. I want to try chapter 6. They all sit down and say, hey, Meiko, I know your partner just died, and I know Taichi's dead, and I know everyone's dead now.
What happened in your story?
But what happened in your story? And she's like, oh, it was just this little boy, and he was lost.
And then I said, you can go home now, little boy. And it was scary to me because I also have fears of being lost sometimes. But I had Meiko. Oh.
She's dead now.
Okay.
Whoops. She became a tentacle lady.
If that section is not just like the biggest metaphor for this entire series, where they go, we're telling you a story and everyone's really impressed by it, but actually nothing is being said whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's a trope in media, and I've noticed that a few times in anime.
Okay, what do you mean?
Like, they're telling a scary story, and it's meant to be scary, and all the characters are reacting like it's super scary, and a door opens and they all start screaming, or someone falls over and they all start screaming.
That's true.
This whole scene just seems like it's like I've seen the exact scene somewhere else before in another anime.
But I mean that this bit is a metaphor for all of Tri. Tri is a big story that is trying to tell you something, and it's saying you should be really impressed right now. Everyone else is acting impressed, but there's no substance to it, really. What is Yggdrasil? Which was a question we asked during X Evolution, and they refused to answer then, and they're probably going to refuse to answer now. It's a fairly good question. What is Libra? Is that what Meikumon is? What is the motivation of any of the bad guys? And I asked you that question. You said they want to destroy the world. And they go, great. That's what they want to do. What motivates them to do that?
Them being evil, I guess?
Well, that's awful. Stupid storytelling. So what's going on with Genai? Obviously, that's his thing. The eternal question, why did they introduce the 02 kids at the beginning of the show if they're not going to do anything with them? We are more than 80% into Tri, and they have been shown right at the beginning of episode 1.
And not explained, and not mentioned by the kids.
No one even says, hey, where do you think they are? And there's consistent questions of, hey, if they're meant to be Digimon all over the world, with like partners all over the world, where are they? What's going on? We had a whole world tour about this. I suspect that anything that they said about going towards the prologue is lies. I think it's just lies.
Right.
Because it can't be. There's too much stuff that's wrong. The only thing that even suggests that 02 really happened is that Ken shows up and people know who he is.
Do you think there might be a parallel universe?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Because once you say the words, oh, it's a parallel universe, what you're really trying to say is this is all non-canon, which is the same wording, basically.
Yep.
At which point you go, why would you even show us this story then?
Well, it's the same with Hurricane Touchdown.
Hurricane Touchdown's different, though, because it takes place... I don't mean in a different time in the story. I mean, like, it takes place in a different time in the Digimon franchise, where things didn't matter because it was for small children, so who cares? This is not a show for that anymore. This show is predicated on, you watched this when you were younger, right? So here's a continuation of that story.
See, a worry that I have about Tri is a lot of it's centered on and based on the fact that it's assuming that the viewer has a lot of nostalgia, and the nostalgia will carry them through any issues that they have.
But even then, it doesn't seem to respect that, in the sense that why would you introduce these characters and not use them ever? And how could you use them? Is it going to be like... And the thing that we were doing this whole episode is, hey, on the poster we see this fall down mode Digimon. We know it's coming. So we know Kari's going to have a big thing happen to her. Oh, we're three episodes out of 4 in.
We should wait till negatives to get
Nothing
to that
has happened with Kari yet.
We're still up to highlights, Jay.
What highlights?
I have a few.
Oh, sure you do.
Another one that I have is when all the Digimon are watching this maybe possibly romantic moment between Tai and Meiko, and then I guess with Agumon and Meiko, and they have
that second part ruined it because it made it make way less sense.
And the Digimon are just like, I'm going to tell Hikari, I'm going to tell Yamato, I'm going to tell Sora, and Tentomon's just like, why would you tell anyone?
I thought that was cute.
And then it's the same thing with Agumon and Meiko because they hug.
I honestly feel like the second one makes the joke not work. Because, sure, okay, we're talking about romantic subplots, and I get it, Tentamon doesn't understand. And then when they're like, oh, Agumon's in there with someone who, like, you know what would have been a funny joke? Palmon goes, I have to tell Mimi about this. That would have been funny because it's a different romance and they're reporting it the other way because they talk about that Ty's involvement, and Agumon's not Ty. They're not the same person. I don't know, maybe I'm just not getting the joke there, but I don't think either of us did.
See, most of my highlights have to do with the Digimon saying something and not the humans, because...
Also has nothing to do with the main story. Mostly it's jokes.
Which is a worrying thing. I mean, I do have some things that had to do with the story. Like, for example, I liked the fact that we had a split evolution instead of having...
That's not the story, that's
7
presentation.
Digimon. Yeah, I liked that. That was a highlight.
That's not the story.
I liked how Daigo had a flashback to his Digimon, which was a Bearmon.
Technically not to do with the story.
Yes, but I liked it. I liked the Dark Ocean.
Okay.
That showing
we
up...
already went over that one.
That one, and I said, oh, this might save it, and then it...
It went nowhere.
Considering the fourth part was the best. The fourth part of Chapter 5 was the best.
I mean, sure, the part where stuff happened.
Yes.
Awesome.
I feel like, and I think you said this a few times, when there's an abridged version of this, it will make a lot more sense and it'll be a lot more enjoyable.
And the whole bit goes for 10 minutes.
Yeah, or 20 minutes to half an hour.
It'll go for 10 because you have to abridge a lot of crap.
Yeah, but it's mainly the last episode that needs to be done.
That's
anyway.
true.
A memorable part that was quite a highlight for me was when homeostasis is taken over and Hikari is saying, get out. You have no right to be here anymore. I disagree with you.
I understand, but I take issue with that entire scene. So we'll get into
We'll
it in
get to
negatives.
yeah.
But that whole scene, it's really cool when you're watching it and then you look back on it and you go, that was really stupid.
Oh, I guess we'll get to that then. But those are my highlights, and yeah, a lot of them had to do with the Digimon.
You had as many
humans.
highlights as there were parts of the full movie.
Yeah, it's really sad because I was really excited. I was sitting in my cosplay as Adventure Yamato with my Gabumon PC buddy, and I was like going yeah, watching Digimon.
It occurs to me that if they'd crammed all 4 parts of that into a trailer, you would have been just as happy.
Well, essentially they did with the PVs, right?
I don't know, was the Dark Ocean in the PV?
No. That's why it was a good surprise. That's why it was a thing, but it wasn't like... But when I say surprise, I mean like, well, I kind of wanted it to be there anyway, right?
What if it just doesn't matter, though? What if it's not even in part 6? She's just out of it now.
That's awful.
Yeah, well...
I have more faith in them than just that, though.
Maybe you shouldn't.
No.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Favourite characters? I don't think I have any human favourite characters. I guess Mimi by default.
It's Agumon for sure.
Yeah, my favourite Digimon is Agumon. But my favourite human is, as I said, Mimi by default.
Yeah, that's probably about right. Since, if you remember, basically no one does or says anything.
In the first part of the movie, when they're just sort of going around the digital world, whenever they fall over, she's just like, this is awful. We're falling. It's awful.
I'm unhappy that things hurt.
And she's so done. And it's great. I really like Mimi. And she's pretty, I don't know, she's genuine and she's realistic, and I like that. But besides that, were there any human character moments besides the long speeches telling Meiko she was special?
There was all that Meiko crap, which was all boring. And there was Matt at the end being awful. Oh, Ty's dead, so whatever. I guess I'm the leader now.
But the thing is, with that moment, do you remember back in... I might be misremembering this because it's been a while, but in Adventure, during the Dark Masters arc, and he's saying, look, Ty, we should have time to mourn the death of our friends. I know there's a lot going on right now, but Ty, you're being stupid to say, okay, let's charge ahead, we have to fight. Can we take, just a break and just talk to each other and, actually mourn, because Mimi's mourning the death of the friends that just died, and Taichi's saying, look, we can go through this, we can get through this, we're fine. And Yamato's saying, hey guys, can we just mourn the death of our friends? And then in Tri, it's the opposite.
But it's not even that, right? It doesn't even need to relate back to Adventure. If you think back to the argument they were having 5 minutes ago, it's the opposite conclusion that he just came to. Are we into negatives yet? Can we talk about this yet?
I don't know, I have character interactions, but
Why?
Were there any character interactions besides telling Meiko she was special?
No.
And I just want to get into Meiko while we're on characters. I liked her previously, and I would always get annoyed that a lot of people in the Digimon fandom don't like Meiko because she's just a Mary Sue and she gets in the way of ships and there are lots of reasons that the fandom have just come up with that they don't like Meiko for. And I was always like, no, she's fine. It's fine to have a new character. It's giving, an extra level. She's a new chosen child. I don't care about any ship she's getting in the way with. She's very cute. And I like the fact, her partner is possibly evil.
I came to the position you did, basically.
Yeah. And she was fine. And we both liked her. This one was just like, look at how special she is. She is special. The bits you can really point at is there's Meiko. She's sitting at the circle. Everyone's taking turns to give her a moral speech to make her feel better. And every time someone finishes, she acts as if nothing has been said to her, and then someone else begins a new speech. Or right after the scary story bit, all of the Digimon are hugging. I think that's the image that sums up why people don't like her. And I get it now. All the Digimon are hugging her. Okay, what's the point of this scene? To show you how cool and special she is. Yes.
I agree with you that as long as they were treating her like a regular part of the group.
In every other season, she was just, you're one of us.
I like how there's seasons.
Yeah, and there was no, we didn't spend any time to say why she's special. She's like, well, she has a Digimon, so she's already special. And now we have all this, I feel like that scene where they just sit by with her and, give her the motivational speeches could have been 5 minutes.
Absolutely. And it could have just been one of them. Just get Mimi to do it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just because she has, she's probably the closest to Meiko. But having all these characters saying, you're special and we love you, it's just, the characters love her too much.
It occurs to me that the reason for this to be is that, hey, you know what? Coming up with a story for 8 characters is really hard to give them all something to do. That's kind of why our war game and similar movies really only focus on 2 or 3 of the chosen children at once. Because you can't give everyone stuff to do unless you have 50 episodes. I guess that's the position that they're in. And so what do we do for a new story? Well, it's really, really hard to write for 8 people. So we'll write one character's story and have everyone be around. But we can't just have it be any one of the kids because that's unfair, so we'll make a new kid.
Yeah. And another reason people previously didn't like Meiko is that she's taking too much of the spotlight away from the kids, which I did not care about in the previous seasons. I did not,
because it wasn't true.
Yeah, the previous parts of Tri. It was she's there, she seems as big as any of the other characters. And then in this movie, I felt like there are 2 people in that movie. Hikari and Meiko.
And Hikari's only there in the last part.
And she's only relevant. I mean, there are bits and pieces of why she's important, but there's only the evolution in the cliffhanger, and there's only that part in the very last episode of part 5.
Because you'd never have... If the show didn't focus on anyone but Meiko the whole time, you would never had, Joe and Mimi talking at the river. You would never have had TK and Izzy talking about the algorithm. All that stuff is good. Nothing even vaguely similar to that happens here. They're all just she's sad. We need to make her feel better.
Yeah, and it's the same thing you were just saying about how in a movie you usually say, okay, we're just going to focus on Yamato, Taichi, and Koshiro a little bit, and then Takeru a little bit. And that's fine because that's a movie and you don't have enough time. But in Tri, and what I thought that was quite good that they were doing, is that each part was focusing on a different child. Different 2 children. They were splitting up the things. The first one was about Yamato and Taichi, and then we had Joe and Mimi the next one, and Yamato and Taichi were still having their thing. But that was in the background. Yeah. The main focus. And I found that in the focus of that chapter, it was really 50-50, Joe and Mimi. I didn't feel they're giving more attention to Mimi, or they're giving more attention to Joe. I felt like that was a good 50-50.
Do you think then that number 5 here would be forgiven if number 6 does not have the same focus? Is it that number 5 just naturally focuses on the 9th person because every episode has been 2 at a time?
Yeah.
Wait, we never had a focus on Kari though, did we?
It was meant to be chapter 5.
Yeah, but we didn't get much.
No.
It all happened in the last part, and it was all very short.
Yes.
So yeah, it was painfully Meiko focused when she's incredibly boring.
Yeah, but previously it was fine. The focus we were getting on her, and I've always said, hey, look, people are unfair towards Meiko. She's not getting the wave ships because I don't think ships are a huge thing in Tri, but I'm not a huge shipper anyway.
Well, the Digimon are.
Yeah, the Digimon are the bigger shippers. And then she's not taking the focus away from the other kids because, as you said, she's not got a lot going on. And previous chapters, they sort of had her there, but they're more focusing on, but the story this time is Patamon is infected and he bites Takeru. And Takeru's not telling anyone because he loves him too much. And then we have Koshiro not sleeping. He's just on his computer trying to work out for a cure.
Those are all conflicts that are really interesting. And I think what it comes from is that they had an idea of who Meiko was, and then they realized when you take Meikumon away, there's nothing left. And so what can that character do for literally an hour? Well, people will say, don't feel bad. She says, but I feel bad. But don't feel bad. But I feel bad. And that's the whole episode.
Yeah.
Or the whole part 5.
And that's sad.
So
I was fine with her. I was like, yeah, she's alright. Like, every movie I was kind of growing towards her at each movie. This I'm just kind of like, look, she just... Honestly, I agree with what the people who don't like Meiko are saying, but only for this movie.
we'll see if they redeem that at all in part 6.
Yeah, like she... As I said, I'm very annoyed that she took the spotlight away from Hikari. And Hikari is someone that we have grown with. We had her have issues in 02 with the Dark Ocean. We had her in Adventure be sick and also be like glowing source of light and help the Numamon overthrow the Warumonzumon. And we had her being taken over by homeostasis. We have some interesting things there. Why weren't we given as many interesting things as Hikari deserves? Maybe that's... Look, maybe she wasn't upset that her brother died at the end of Chapter 5. Maybe she was just angry because she wasn't getting any attention.
Maybe. We'll talk about the only actual plot stuff that really happened in this episode, besides speeches to a sad girl, which was Hackmon showing up and saying, by the way, Meikumon's got a shard of a Pokemon in her. Just important. Don't tell the kids. He didn't even say don't tell the kids. They just don't.
Yeah.
Right? Because Daigo hears that and says, interesting. I guess I should go tell the kids nothing. So that's important. We should keep in mind the Pokemon shards in there.
Would you like to move to negatives then? Okay, negatives. What are your negatives? I know you have a few.
Okay, so we covered that. And now everything that really happened in the fourth part of this, part 4 of part 5. And I've talked about this before on the show, I'm sure. The idea in a movie or piece of media where the conflict only arises because people refuse to talk to each other. If you just communicated clearly, given the opportunities presented to you, you would be able to talk it all out.
Like, I think homeostasis was right. I think they should have killed Meikumon as soon as they could. Okay,
so homeostasis says Meikumon needs to die because harmony. Basically, all homeostasis says is harmony is the goal and sacrifices need to be made, and as a result, that's it. That's an incredibly broad thing to say. Harmony, what does that mean? Oh, the way things are, balance, I don't know. This thing needs to die is very specific. If you had said something more specific and reasonable, like if harmony is not maintained, the world will be destroyed, and this is the way to fix that, you give the kids a reason to believe you, or at least a reason to side with you in what you have to say. If it's just, harmony's kind of my thing, so I don't know. I just think homeostasis is kind of an idiot, and as essentially God, it shouldn't be that stupid. And then all of the kids are arguing with it because a Digimon partner is really important and you can't let them die. And here comes my primary frustration with the whole thing. Is when all the kids are in the desert, and Meiko says, I'm willing to make that sacrifice if you all stop Meikumon, because keeping in mind she blew up a power plant and has probably killed thousands of people, something that they never mentioned once.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's the thing that happens in a lot of Digimon. We have a Digimon just blew up a building. We don't talk about, and 20 people are dead.
But generally, the Digimon that blows up a building is a bad guy. So, we're going to fight them. But in this case, because it's her partner, we're just not going to talk about the hundreds of people that she killed. And now that Meiko says, it is okay, I want you to stop Meikumon, every other kid says, no! But she's your partner! I know, you overcame your emotional thing and you have made progress and maybe you've even developed as a character, but no, we're not going to let you! I don't think that's okay. And then the only person who makes the decision is Tai, because as we established in 02, he's a soldier and he understands that you have to kill Digimon to do good, I guess, to save the world. So he says, okay, Omegamon, we're going to take him down, and Matt says no, because in the light of everything that's happening, partners are important. You don't get to make that decision, especially because, Omegamon's both of us. You can't... Partners are important and friends are important and you have to save your friends, right? That's the most important thing to Matt right now. We should really keep that in mind. All right. So things are distracting. And basically, Tai just goes ahead and does it anyway and says, you go fight Meikumon, but it's way too late. If it doesn't even say anything, he just nods. No, that's not it. No, he doesn't say anything. And as a result, the ground gets blown up by
something.
Jessmon blows it
Oh,
up.
okay. With his knife legs.
But with his big laser.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, he was... Yeah, that's right.
I watched this more closely than you did.
That's because, you know what? I had given up by that point. And
Yeah.
you know what? That is bad. I am... In the podcast and in everything in general, I am the one who loves Digimon. I love everything Digimon. By then I was just like... Where's the Dark Ocean coming back?
So I just want to cover what happens here quickly. So Tai is running away from the cracks in the ground, and Matt and Meiko go the other way. Tai nods to Omegamon, and Omegamon goes and saves the other two, which leaves Tai sort of to fall down a cliff. Daigo goes and tries to save him, and they clearly does not, and they both disappear. Now, what I think is weird here is, first of all, Omegamon has been fighting Meikumon one-on-one this whole time and has been fine, but then he is hit by the dirt a little bit, and all of a sudden he
devolves.
dies?
Yeah.
Which is berserk. And, okay, so they de-evolve now, but Matt and Meiko are okay, I guess. Now, Matt, who just now said, you can't kill a Digimon even though her partner said it's fine, and they're evil, and they have killed hundreds of people. You can't do that because friends are important.
Yeah.
Tai has just fallen down this cliff here, and Koramon's like, I wanna... Tai, you there? Are you okay? And Matt says, stop crying over him, picks up the goggles, I'm the leader now, let's leave.
This is really annoying, and the fact is that nobody addressed the fact that, hey, remember that time you spoke to a tree, looked at your reflection, decided you were the leader, and started punching your friend? Remember the time you were like, hey, let's kill War Greymon, let's kill this guy's partner, let's kill one of our friends. Like, that's... I don't know, and as I said earlier, it's, if you remember back in Adventure when he was saying, hey, look, Tai, why don't we have some time to remember the fallen Digimon that have died for our cause?
No, Tai just died, probably. That's what you think.
My best friend, my Jogress partner, just died.
It's not his best friend.
I'm going to steal the goggles, and I felt like that. I know it was meant to be, it's a symbiotic, it's like
Symbolic?
I keep on saying symbiotic because, symbolic. There we are. I was missing the L.
Like a passing of the torch.
Yeah, it's just passing of the torch, and he's acting like a leader now, but it just...
I would have loved, because it's like the third act and everything's as dark as it could ever be, because Matt's character is he's just a bad person. If anyone if you're a Matt apologist, get out of my face. Because Matt is just a bad person, I would have loved if there was like a moment where he sees Tai die and he like smiles and he's like, my time has come. I've always waited for this day. Now I get to be the leader. No more Tai in my way. Because that's secretly always what he's imagined. You know what? That's probably not what they were going for, but the way he acts after Tai goes down really feels like it. Hey, Digimon, stop crying that Tai died, because I don't care. I get his goggles. So we'll also talk about what the real bad guy's plan was, because it can only be assumed, because of the results at the end of the cliffhanger, that the bad guy's plan was for, is it Seraphimon? Ophanimon fall down mode to show up and then get fused with Meikumon. That has to be assumed, right?
Keikaku, yeah.
Okay. What are the steps in making that plan work? Because what made it work, right? Jessmon blew up the ground and Tai made a decision to sacrifice himself.
Yes.
And then he died. And that made Kari angry, and that made the evolution happen.
Yes.
Jessmon is not under the control of Genai at all. So any of his actions couldn't have been planned. Also, could he have known that if Kari was sad, that's what would make Ophanimon fall down mode show up? And if so, could he have known that killing Tai was what would have made that happen? There are so many steps here that don't make any sense. Because you know what would have made sense here? If Meikumon, being under control of Genai, I guess, of the bad guy here, had attacked Tai directly.
Also, yeah,
but he never
that makes
did.
sense, but I just thought of another thing. Alphamon can't possibly be on the side of Yggdrasil, because he was trying to kill Meikumon in the first part. Alphamon did nothing wrong. He was actually...
But he was fighting Jessmon in this one.
Yes, so I don't think he's on the side of homeostasis. I think there's a different state.
Whose side's he on?
He is on the side of maybe the Holy Beasts.
Why wouldn't the Holy Beasts have shown up and said hello?
Okay, that's an issue I have, that the Holy Beasts haven't, shown up at all. But what if Alphamon's on the side of Yggdrasil? Because in part 1, he was trying to kill Meikumon.
Okay.
And the kids effectively ruined everything by not letting Alphamon kill Meikumon in chapter 1, right? Okay, and he can't be on the side of homeostasis, even though he wants Meikumon dead. They have the same goal, because he was fighting Jessmon.
But why wouldn't they just work together, even if they're not on the same side? You can work together if you have the same goal.
Because homeostasis wanted the reboot to happen.
Okay.
Because we had homeostasis take over Hikari and was talking about the reboot.
But is that
and how it was
relevant?
necessary. Yes.
No, is that relevant to this fight now? The reboot already happened, so it's done.
I know, but what we're saying is Alphamon...
Got rebooted, by the way, so what's up with that?
Well, apparently not. Apparently Meikoumon...
This is apparently not strong.
Meikoumon didn't either. Meikoumon, Alphamon, and Jessamon did not get rebooted.
I guess.
Because they were overprotection of something. So, my theory is, and we're bringing in theories into the negatives thing because we may as well talk
How
about
else
something.
do you fix it?
Okay, remember Demiurge?
No. Demiurge is Demiurge a thing?
I think it might be a thing. So, what if there are 3 sides to this coin? It's a very interesting looking
I
coin.
mean, obviously there are 4 sides. The kids are their own side.
Okay, who cares about the kids now? At this point, who cares? So, what if there's Demiurge and Alphamon are working together? Yggdrasil and Meikoumon, at one side, they're like all like chaos and stuff. And then we have, homeostasis, which is basically just like kill things, but also don't do, like only show up like halfway through the plot.
Okay, I'm sure that's a really bad explanation of what homeostasis... At least homeostasis' motivation makes sense. Because homeostasis' motivation is harmony. And to do that, homeostasis is clearly aware that Meikoumon is an instrument of destruction that needs to go. Refuses to explain that in any way, but clearly that's what they think, and that's why it needs to die.
Well, 2 out of the 3 of these sides wanted the reboot. Well, we don't know what Alphamon thought, but I don't think he wanted the reboot because he was just trying to kill Meikoumon in the first part. So I think, no, the true baddies, the true bad guys, are the kids for not letting Alphamon just kill the
Meikoumon's
cat.
not the reboot. The reboot was the solution to the problem that she created.
Yes.
So you can't say that he envisaged the reboot when he saw that, because that was never an idea.
I'm not saying
that was a human idea.
I'm not saying that.
You said he didn't want the reboot.
No, I'm just saying...
That's impossible to say.
Okay, I misspoke. What I said was, I think that we don't know whether or not he is for or against the reboot.
You can't be for or against the reboot.
I don't think he cared about it because he just wanted to kill Meikoumon.
Mate, I need you to understand with the way the story works, the reboot was no one's idea but humans, as far as I'm aware.
No, homeostasis was talking about it.
But only after the virus went crazy everywhere.
Yes.
So unless what you're saying is the virus was an intentional move to cause a reboot...
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
then nobody was for or against the reboot as a strategy from the beginning. That was never an idea until later it became necessary.
Yes, but it was always present throughout Tri that there was a virus.
Sure. So the virus is the issue, not the reboot. The reboot's an event, not a strategy.
Yes, but my main point is we don't know the side of Alphamon, and none of the kids questioned it. No one said, but whose side is he on? He shows up and just starts fighting. He fights Jessamon.
So he's presumably a bad guy? Even though we know he was doing like the good work at the beginning, trying to kill Meikoumon?
Yeah, but the work of Yggdrasil was to work alongside Meikoumon and have her be crazy.
We don't really know who Yggdrasil is, though. It didn't explain it in X Evolution, and it's not explaining it now.
I'm worried it won't.
It's just a word they throw around, and what really annoys me is the kids seem to go, "Oh yeah, Yggdrasil, we know all about that." How?
Also, was the part at the end, was that an X Evolution? Was that the evolution type?
Cross evolution?
Cross evolution?
It should be. That's what the X is, isn't it? Shouldn't it be cross?
No,
Japanese.
in this it's not. It's X evolution because
Okay.
it was the X antibody.
And I guess all their arms are DNA, so maybe I don't know.
Is it just X antibodies and X evolution again?
Maybe. Because the thing for me, like, the bad guy's plan doesn't make any sense. There are too many variables here that came together in a way that is unplannable. Because the agents of Genai had nothing to do with the final bad guy showing up, except that Meikoumon was there.
Yes.
So the whole thing is falling apart.
Yes, and that's why I'm trying to come up with theories to not make it fall apart. But this is hard.
But, like, you can't just say this person is aligned with this person because there's no evidence. I could say that Alphamon is one of Ash Ketchum Pokemon and he's just showing up on his orders.
Canon.
And you would be able to say, well, there's no evidence either way to that. And I go, yeah.
Yeah, Ash Ketchum just shows up. What if Haru showed up? I want Haru to show up.
We kind of thought maybe because of the finale of Atmons today. Maybe.
That'd be nice. It's not going to.
Where's the crossover?
Because as you said when I mentioned that, you said he's like
Haru's
2 or
years
3.
old.
Yeah.
Because it's 2005. And
It's
like
12 years ago. He is 2.
And like, this episode is so bad. And it's not even one of those things, right, where they've introduced a mystery and you go, okay, well, next episode they'll explain it all. It's not explainable in any rational way.
And a chapter 5 out of 6 should be everything's coming together. We are starting to answer questions that we have, not introduce new ones. We are, tying loose ends. This is the climatic part. You're meant to care. You care about the characters. You care about the outcome. You care about the next part. You want to see the next part, not just because you've come this far already, but because you are interested. You are invested in this.
I guess the function of the end of episode 5, the feeling you should be left with is, it has all come together. I understand now. And the bad guys' plan is so amazing and so incredible. I can't imagine how the good guys will overcome it. That is a third act.
Yes, what is meant to happen is we're meant to have... at this point, we are meant to know, this is what the bad guys want. Take Atmon, for example. I won't spoil Atmon, but at the sort of third act part of Atmon, we had a reveal. We had what the bad guy's sort of aim is. We had what the bad guy wanted. We had, the characters, trying to overcome their fear of what was happening.
Well, I guess to summarize it, we know what the bad guy wants, we know how he intends to get it, and we know his absurdly overpowered advantage that needs to be overcome by your heroes. But we know your heroes have one possible means of going about it. Bam, go ahead. You're into your third act now. What are you going to do?
And we know the reason, but I'm trying to say things without spoiling things, but we know the reason behind some things for happening.
Yeah, basically,
and it's being explained.
The plot has been laid out to you now. You understand everything, and now you're like, how will it end? Whereas Tri, on the other hand, you've got to the end of part 5 out of 6, and you've said to yourself,
how will it end?
Not even how will it end. I don't really understand what's happening. On a really base level, I understand there is a big bad guy over there now. Couldn't tell you why. I couldn't tell you what's going on with them. I couldn't tell you really how they got there, who all the players are in this story. I couldn't tell you why the 02 kids showed up at the beginning, or how everyone knows who Ken is, or why people don't know what Digimon are, but they actually kind of do. Who told the news what Digimon are? Because from the first and second parts, they didn't know what they were, and now they do.
Yes. It has been kind of flip-floppy from no one knows what a Digimon is. And that's why we like the Abridged series, how the Abridged series is like, hey, so what are we doing now? Pretending Digimon don't exist? Alright, high five. And
I honestly think the Abridged series will do a much better job because they have way less time to waste. There's so much time wasted on Meiko in this, it's unbelievable. Which you could have compressed and made it just fine with one or two good speeches, not 7 or 8.
Yeah, we could, okay, fine. The speech part was important because we have to sort of cheer Meiko up, but it didn't have to be as long as it was, and we didn't have to have each character say, "And this is why you're important." Says vaguely the same thing as the previous person said. And you are important, and we love you because you are special.
So, and once we get past that, and they start mentioning words like Yggdrasil and Libra and all that stuff, I feel like they will be in a position to sort of boil down, and this is the important information you needed out of that to make the story go. Because I think what Abridged series have been doing lately, which is great, and what has been really excellent about modern Abridged, is it's not so much a shorten the episode, make jokes. It's how do you make the story, how do you fix all the weird stuff in the story? I've always talked about Sword Art Online Abridged, but Sword Art Online is pretty crap. It's pretty bad. It has tons of stupid plot holes in it, and everyone's motivation is really stupid. And the characters act in stupid ways all the time. But if you watch the Abridged series, it seems to rationalize almost everything into a much shorter show, but a much more interesting show.
See, I mean, I always had the impression that an Abridged series was to make fun of the product, because we're making fun of things is fun. But sometimes it's just like, hey, let's fix this show.
Because if you think of original Digimon Abridged, right? Oh, stat screen!
Yeah, that was just
That's the thing that happened.
That was making fun of it, but that's fine.
Whereas the Abridged one is more like, hey, we have questions. Please answer our questions.
And it's referencing things that Digimon fans should be thinking of, like, hey, remember that time there was that tree? Hey, remember that time that kids are around the world? And this is another one of my negatives, and I'll mention it right now. There's Digimon appearing all throughout the world, in the desert. Where are the international chosen?
Where's the Digidestiny Dingo of Australia?
Because I thought that when we were getting all these flashes from the Digimon around the world, it was very reminiscent of when the Dark Tower Digimon were just popping up around the world.
It's pretty much.
And we had the desert, and we had just kids on riding Digimon. That's what I expected to see. But we didn't, because we don't know the status of the International Digidestined now that there's been a reboot.
Did they all get left on the moon at the end of 02? Is that what it actually was?
Yes.
Oh my god, this show is bad.
And this is a huge problem. I feel like, and as we said before, we should care by this point. How much do we care about Atmon right now?
You know what it is? What I think it is? Sorry, we'll answer that question in a moment.
Yeah.
I think the moment they mention Apocalypse, you're like, oh no, okay, this show's just going downhill.
If they said Vamdemon.
Vandemon
care.
doesn't sound so impressive though, because honestly, the kids should say oh my god, it'd be so good though, because you'd be able to see, do they say, oh, we already beat him twice already, or oh, we already beat him once before? Then you'd know. Then you'd know 02 was a real.
Well, 02 was real because we have them knowing who Ken is. We have them
asking where Davis is.
Okay, but
yeah, that happened,
Davis.
didn't it? No,
yeah,
it
and that's another thing the Abridged series did. They mentioned like, hey, remember those kids that we saved the world with? No, okay.
No, shouldn't we call in Davis and Yoli? No,
Who?
it wasn't who. It was like, I don't think so. Okay. I'm pretty sure they just said no.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, but fine.
And they reference things, and that's what, I just feel like this is what Tri should be doing, like, actually reference things that happen. Sure, maybe don't make them relevant, but reference
No,
them,
do, though. That's what stories are. That's what continuity is. People really like continuity, because it makes it feel like all the other stuff you watch was for a reason.
I can already imagine what the Abridged series will do with Tri Chapter 5. It'll be a lot of references. Whenever Yamato's, like, being awful, it'll be like, Yamato, go talk to a tree.
Pretty much.
Because that's what the last scene, that's all I could think about. Like, yeah, when Taichi's saying, look, Meiko has said that we can kill her partner. And Yamato's saying, no, though. But it's her partner. How could she say that? How could she have this emotion? How dare she have an emotion that's her own? And I'm just like, hey, remember that time that you were all for killing your friend?
No, just cut forward to when he picks up the goggles. That's the one for me. It's right then. It's 5 minutes later.
It's just annoying.
But I need them to explain what Yggdrasil is, what Libra is, and what homeostasis is in this case. I know homeostasis we have a bit of explanation, but
I'm not looking forward to chapter 6.
you have the time to actually explain it, and I agree.
There are too many things for them to answer in one movie.
And they refuse to use their time well. So which means that we're going to have 3 episodes of garbage nothing, and then 1 episode of conclusion, and maybe you'll find out, oh, Yggdrasil is a program? Is it from a computer? Is it part of the digital world? What is it?
But remember, we liked chapter 3. We weren't bored during chapter 3. Chapter 3 was all good, and we said, okay, this is good now. They got their sort of like slice of life-y stuff out of the way. It was fine in the first 2 chapters. It's fine now, but now we're going to real plot now.
I was
real,
wrong.
Real Digisoul starts now.
We were wrong.
We were wrong. And then it was great because, the reboot's happening and Digimon are all sad and it's getting us and it's, it's emotional, and we have, oh my gosh, it's the Kaiser, but he's not the Kaiser, he's Jedi! That was great. Remember caring? You and I both cared. You cared.
You know what this feels like? Have I ever told you about how they wrote Lost?
No.
So Lost was a television show which everyone really liked because it had all these intriguing mysteries in it.
Oh, yeah.
And years after the fact, when it ended really badly and it was all stupid and didn't explain itself at all, they introduced a writer and they said, so how did you write Lost? Did you write it with knowing how the ending was going to go? And they said, no, we wrote it episode by episode, and we said to ourselves, what would make everyone really want to tune in next week? So we put a big stupid mystery at the end. We had no idea how we were going to make it make sense. And that's what this feels like now, because every sort of one ends with like a big twist or cliffhanger, and every single one of them has gone nowhere. You know what? Let's see the beginning of this episode, the beginning of this entire part. Do you remember how this begins?
Meiko has a flashback.
No. Hey, Meikumon, destroy the entire world or I'll kill your partner.
And the entire world includes the partner.
It's a hell of a choice, isn't it? And then when Meikumon goes and does it, and is now mindless and not really paying attention, Genai just lets Meiko go, even though it would make way more sense to kill her because she's an opposing force. And she's a possible redeeming factor for Meikumon. It is actually just a huge liability to keep her around.
Yes. I agree.
Great. Can we finish now?
I mean, I have another negative. I have, why did Koshiro forget about his own invention, about the world that he's able to put his Digimon into?
I'm calling it stress, honestly. For me, it was, we were running away and he didn't think to pull out his laptop and connect to the internet. That's fine.
Yeah, but Taichi says, oh yes, let's put him inside the thing. And he's like, what? I don't know, it just felt weird, but I guess you can say it's just stress. My main negative was barely enough time was spent with Hikari, and we went through that in characters. It's annoying.
I agree with you.
Other thoughts?
I'm done. I went through everything.
I picked up a few things, like, for example, when we had the split screen evolution, and when they're evolving from adult to perfect level Digimon, we all see that they all look the same except for Lilymon.
So it comes out of a big rose.
Everyone, a big lily. Everyone else is, that they're like the silhouettes of the Digimon while they're evolving, but it's different, and I just found that an interesting sort of thing, that she had a completely different animation for it, and that was good. I like it. I like how we actually have, it's not just stock footage, it's nice. And as I mentioned before, what about Demiurge? Remember that thing that we mentioned for the start of the first 2 chapters?
Yeah, I remember, and it wasn't relevant at all. Also, I'm pretty sure it's not a lily. I'm pretty sure it's a rose.
On Lilymon?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
When she's evolving to Lilymon.
It doesn't look anything like a lily.
Yes, it's a lily, because then she evolves to Rosemon and she uses a different looking flower.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Rosemon.
Yeah, you think about Rosemon.
Okay, because that was when you pointed it out.
No, I pointed out during the evolution with Lilymon.
Okay, fine.
It's the lily that's on her head. It's the pink lily. It's just whatever the flower is that's on her head. Another thought, I guess, is also a negative, because guess what? I have a lot of negative thoughts about this, unfortunately. Is that they keep introducing things, like new things, new mechanics, but they don't explain things that they introduced movies ago.
Absolutely.
It's nice that we have the Dark Ocean. I know, I'm glad that they're possibly bringing that back. I'm going to be mad that if
How
they
did
just
she get
drop it
there? And
by being
why?
dark. Okay, it's fine. I'm fine with the way she got there, because she's just being dark. And that's how to get to the Dark Ocean. Remember in 02, how they're like, how did we get there? Oh, I'm feeling helpless. Oh, wait, no, I see it too. It's if you feel helpless and dark, you will get to the Dark Ocean, even though it was sealed.
I wonder if she's going to be relevant at all.
I hope so, but it's sad that in part 4, we got like a 1-minute clip of her, and in part 5, we got like 2 3-minute clips with her.
I can't wait to wait 6 months to be disappointed.
It's more than that. It's like summer 2018.
Yeah, sorry, I can't wait to wait 9 months to be disappointed.
Woof, ouch, that's going to be rough.
Why does it take them so long to make this?
I think they just wanted to make it go longer so they could get lots of money.
Oh my god.
And my final miscellaneous other opinion thought, where are the holy beasts in all this?
Well, maybe they got rebooted even though other things didn't.
I feel like the holy beasts would be like beyond that,
Also,
right? They're powerful.
Didn't we see the Holy Beast? Because Tapirmon becomes a Holy Beast later, and if he's Tapirmon now...
No, he didn't. He's the one who didn't. He died.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's why she's upset, because Bakumon died.
Right. And I guess Daigo's not even like, I'm gonna go find mine.
Yeah, why isn't he worried about, hey, what about my partner? He doesn't mention this Bearmon that we had flashbacks of.
Which one does that turn into?
I don't remember. He had the Lodaleomon that became Bihumon.
Okay, sure.
It's the big dog one.
Alright.
And we still don't... I don't think either of them are the Gold Kid. Because in that flashback, neither of them are wearing goggles. I think the Gold Kid was just someone else who's just not relevant.
Over there.
Like, I was like, is it Daigo? Is it Maki? It'd be nice to be Maki. We'll get a Gold Kid. It's neither of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Neither of them are relevant. Because also neither of them had dinosaur dragons.
There was stuff in the background of the flashback to the Bearmon, so they might have been there, but couldn't really see.
I was just paying attention to the Bearmon. I was
very
popping at the
cute.
Bearmon. I love Bearmon so much. He's from the Frontier movie and also Digimon World 2003.
Cares?
He's great. But yeah, so where are the Holy Beasts at?
God, they're not relevant to the story.
But why isn't Daigo looking for his partner?
Because he doesn't care.
Wouldn't you care? This is your partner. This is the partner that you're destined for.
No, that small child that I'm a teacher of is going to die. I guess I'll die too.
Yeah.
It's important.
Overall thoughts.
Bad out of 10.
Yeah, if I was to give it a rating out of 10, I think I'd give it like a 3.
It's so boring until it makes
was.
It was boring up until it made no sense. So at which point stuff happened, but it was stupid.
Yeah, and it was kind of like X-Evolution in that way.
Yeah, you know what? Yggdrasil's kind of a poison word, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, hey, can we keep the Royal Knights out of everything Digimon? Because, like...
They're so bad.
Every time the Royal Knights... Like, okay, Cyber Sleuth, I guess, is an exception to this rule.
But every time the Royal Knights have showed up in anything, they have ruined it.
Well,
It's
Frontier
been awful.
already kind of did not need the help.
No, but the Royal Knights could have been just fine, and they were really awful in it. And I'm sure the Royal Knights are in other stuff as well, and they suck. They're really bad. Yeah, like X-Evolution's garbage, and this isn't garbage.
I think X-Evolution is still worse than this. Maybe.
So, I mean, it's not worse than this part, but worse than all of Tri, sure.
It's rough.
They only have one left.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable they only have one left.
Yes, and they have no plans in extending it. They've always said it's going to be a 6-part movie.
It's incredible.
Yes.
Oh, well, whatever.
Yes, remember that time we said, oh yeah, Digimon Adventure Tri is one of the best parts of all of Digimon?
Can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, me too. Like, I mean, I want Tri Chapter 6 to be good.
Just show me the Alphamon final.
Yeah.
I'm so much more interested in the Alphamon finale.
And that's good. You should care about the things we're watching.
Read my lips. Alphamon's better than anything else Digimon's ever done.
I would agree. So what rating would you give it out of 10?
Bad.
Just bad?
Okay, as a legitimate rating, it gets a 2.
Oh, yeah, I guess like I was even going to give it like a 2 or a 3 or a 2.5 or something. And I just settled on 3 because the Dark Ocean was there.
Pretty much.
What about compared to other Digimon series?
It's honestly comparable to X-Evolution.
What about Frontier?
Frontier made sense, it just sucked.
It wasn't boring, at least.
Yes, it was. It was
wasn't.
consistently boring.
Okay. Well, I didn't really think Frontier was incredibly boring.
But it wasn't boring in this way, right? They're different kinds of boring. Frontier was boring in a, like, nothing important is happening, but stuff's happening, right? So I didn't care about what was going on screen. Whereas in this case, I kind of cared, but then they spun their wheels for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and I just stopped caring. It was a different kind of boring. But at least this didn't go for 52 episodes, so that helps.
I was just happy to see the Dark Ocean again.
I know. I remember. You stood up.
It was great. I was like, yay, it's getting good. And then it...
That was lies.
and
It's
then
not
it
true.
didn't. Then it didn't. Alright, so we are going to talk about the poster for the next chapter, Chapter 6.
Is it out? I thought you said that you only saw there was some blue.
There are reports on it. I will quickly check to see if there have been any other reports.
Well, then let's not talk about it if it's not out yet.
But basically, if you don't want to hear about the title for the for the next chapter of Tri, you can skip to the next segment. As always, I put the segment times in the description, so please skip, because otherwise you will be spoiled.
Maybe.
So, what we know so far is that, as we mentioned before, it is coming out summer 2018.
It's really far in the distance.
And it is called Our Future. So it's Bokura no Mirai.
It should be called Epilogue, and then it just goes, and it's just the epilogue. We don't even see how this concludes.
But what I noticed is that while it is written with 2 kanji, still it's Bokura no and then Mirai, which is 2 kanji.
Sure.
Previous chapters have been just the 2 kanji on its own. It's just, I don't know, it's weird.
I don't follow. This one is 2, but the other ones have had 2 as well, and this is different?
No, this is more than 2. This has 2, the characters in it, there are 2 kanji.
Okay.
There's 4 hiragana and 2 kanji. Bokura no Mirai. And that's, the Mirai part is 2 kanji. The kanji for future is 2 kanji.
Sure.
But it's strange that they didn't just call it future.
Yeah.
Because that would fit the same title sort of theme that they've followed. Go Mirai, 2 kanji. It would fit. I just found that weird. And so Toei has confirmed the title, along with confirming that there is a poster image for part 6 during the screenings. We just haven't seen any photos of it yet.
Okay.
And some people have said that it's sky blue and has Meiko on it, which is,
great.
I don't know. Kind of wanted there to be something new. We've already had Meiko on a poster. It's fine. We've had Meiko twice on a poster.
Can't wait for it to be a full part where none of the other kids even show up.
I'm still waiting for a poster. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to that poster. So, do we have any predictions? Because I just want it to be good. Like, at this point, I predict it will be bad, but I want it to be good. I'm not particularly optimistic at the moment. Can you tell?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm in the same boat as you are.
Is there anything you want? What I want is that I want them to say what the whole Demiurge thing was about. I want them to explain the 02 kids. I want them to say that Alphamon is working alongside Demiurge and actually have some reason behind why he's potentially working separately. I don't think I'll be getting everything. Like, when we talk about Atmon and our predictions for Atmon, we're always just like, yeah, I hope this happens. I mean, it might not because faith. And then what we predicted essentially came true.
Like 40% of the best theory ever came true.
Yeah, the best theory where I said, if this theory is correct, it'll be the best season of Digimon by miles.
Yeah.
And then 40% of that was correct. Whether or not the episode that came out today will prove the entire theory, that would be amazing.
I honestly forget consistently when I'm watching Atmon, but the rest of Digimon doesn't make any sense at all. I should be thankful that this plot is even, like, coherent.
Yeah, I know Atmon's really good, and if you haven't already, please watch Atmon.
It's so much better than everything else.
Do you have anything
sad.
you want to hope for Chapter 6?
I hope that they will answer all of the questions, because there are so many.
Do you think they can make Tri good? Like, if this is just, a roughly 30-episode season.
Okay. I think that they can make Tri good, yes. I think that you can make a finale that ties everything together, because there are lots of mysteries, but you can answer all those mysteries in a good way.
Yes.
The only thing here is I do not think you can justify the fusion that happened at the end of this part.
Which we haven't even talked about, by the way.
We did,
that
a little bit.
We sort of, glossed over it. That they merged, and it was kind of
you can't... I think that the plan that Genai must have had to make this fusion happen is unexplainable. There are too many moving parts that he couldn't have control over. And that he had to have knowledge that he couldn't really have had in the first place. So that's unexplainable, but the rest of it can be good enough that I'll be like, fine, whatever. That is... I'm willing to ignore it if they answer everything else. But I don't think they will, because I have no faith anymore. They ruined it.
That's rough.
That's it.
Alright, hello. It is May from the future podcast world, where I'm editing the podcast several hours after we actually recorded this. It would have been out earlier, it's just that I had a migraine, because it was Yom Kippur today, and I was not eating or drinking for 24 hours. And then I had a migraine, because I get migraines when I'm dehydrated, which was great fun. So yeah, this episode's a bit late. Apologies for that. And then So it's actually maybe not a terribly bad thing that it was a slightly delayed editing and uploading of this episode, because now we actually do have a visual of the poster. And what we have is we have all the kids and a Megamon, and then Meiko is holding Meikumon, and she's like falling, and they're all reaching out to her. And then if you look sort of at the top of this image, you actually see a familiar thing, and it's Wizamon's hat. And it's sort of like faded into the background, just so it's sort of, you need to look at it to really see it. And I was sort of like, hey, what's that? And I zoomed in, and like, oh, it's Wizamon's hat. So that is an interesting time to introduce another plot point, that Wizamon's there. Maybe Wizamon has been rebooted, and we finally know, hey, what happens if they die in the real world? Do they come back? But even though we saw him as a ghost, like, does that still affect him? Does the reboot still affect him even if he's in the real world? It sort of like asks a lot of questions, and hopefully we get an answer to. So maybe Wizamon will snap Hikari out of whatever she's got at the moment, and the Biomerge falls apart. Not Biomerge, the Jogress falls apart, and maybe that's the solution to that problem, and then they face another issue. So yeah, I just found that rather interesting, and I felt that it was noteworthy to record a little bit of an update to that part before we just say in the description, oh, by the way, there's a poster now and Wizamon possibly is in it. I just thought it would be good just to edit this slightly sleepy, migrainey addition to the podcast. And because I want to do this quickly, I'm not using my mixer. I'm just using the microphone attached to my computer. So apologies if the audio's not super stellar. But yeah, so I have some thoughts about Wizamon being there. I'm still kind of hopefully getting a little bit more optimistic. I feel like this episode was fairly negative. And seeing the poster, it's a pretty cool poster. It's pretty like dynamic, and there's stuff going on, and Wizamon's there, and so that's exciting. Maybe I need to look at it again, but there weren't any hints of the 02 kids, and I'll of course link this in link dump, which is in the description. And yeah, so that's it for the quick update edition of the podcast. Whee! Next time, we will be watching Chapter 6. And I won't say the title because there might be some people who have skipped in order...
Sure.
Yeah, to not say the title.
We'll see you in 9 months, people.
See you in summer 2018, I guess. The link dump's linked in the description. Our Redbubble is also linked in the description, and you can get more than just shirts too, so please check it out because it does support us a little bit. It's great. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we would appreciate if you would review us on iTunes and or Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening service you used. We also have a website. You should check it out. It's got a release schedule, and I'm starting to try to add blog posts and stuff to it. It'll be great. You can also donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, and you can do that from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to a list of Slack chat group. But there are other things like higher rewards, which are like notes, early episodes, and more.
And thank you to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast, Stevie, who's Stevie Padamon on Tumblr and is currently taking commissions, Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamemon, Joe, Penguin Mage, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Chakmon, Ishpal Bamba, Hiro Alato, who's at Hiro Alato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who's Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who's at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Corey, Kyle, the Lady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find at baguburagu.wordpress.com, Smallwolfie, who is on Tapastic as Smallwolfie and has a comic there called Eden of Melancholy, Tom, Glitchgoat, Azrael McCool, Nicholas, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lizmet, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ellie Vorg, who is Ellie Vorg on Tumblr, Sporky McForkinspoon, who hosts a Digimon podcast called Going Digital, Megan, Kyliak, Neobu, Jams, and The Time Optimist.
You can also make one donation on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/edgemon. Make sure to let us know for the podcast. See you guys next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
いつか時が離しても二人繋いでいるよ愛言葉運命が瞳そらしても二人だけ知っている愛言葉決して ない合言葉